And we are back for more. It's the iRacing Stock Car Association Tucson Sound Art Cup Series here for round number 7 of the first season of 2022. Hello and welcome one and all to the ISCA. My name is Nola Rempel with Alfonso Nixon beside me in the broadcast booth and Rob Melnick once again working the cameras for tonight's presentation. So we return to the North Wilkesboro Speedway for the second running of the Goodies 200. Of course, the first iteration of this race taking place in the Butt Kicker Cup Series just 3 nights ago. And while it might be a slightly smaller grid than Thursday's race here, Al, I have a feeling we are still in for a really good show tonight.
Absolutely, Nolan. This is what we've been waiting for. So hopefully this field will not disappoint back at North Wilkesboro with a brand new update on the car. I believe it's the high horsepower low downforce package. So these cars handling a lot different tonight than they did, say, Wednesday of earlier this week. So it's going to be interesting to see who was actually able to go ahead and get a better handle on their setups. What do you think?
Well, smaller spoiler, 670 horsepower. These drivers were able to negotiate it quite nicely for 200 laps just 3 nights ago. So hopefully we'll be able to be in for just as exciting of a show here tonight as well. Currently, we have 16 drivers getting set to qualify here from this beautiful little short track over in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. A track that has got so much rich history behind it. And of course, 200 laps going to set for us on the course of the night. 2 stages, as always, both stage breaks prior to halfway, 40 and 80. That will leave just 120 laps for an estimated fuel window of 118 laps. So while you theoretically can make it to the end of this race on fuel, a lot of drivers, I have a feeling, they're going to be wanting to stop a little bit earlier for tires. That was at least the name of the game just a few nights ago. Chris, might having some slight technical difficulties with my co-commentator there. Oh, are you back?
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed with these cars is they actually start to handle a lot different as that fuel tank gets down as in its quantity. So what I mean is, as the tank starts to diminish, that the butt end of the car kind of gets up in the air a little bit. Without that bigger spoiler, it seems like the cars are a little bit harder to handle.
Could be that is the case, and that could be, again, why we're seeing drivers wanting to come on down for tires. Of course, having to run 118 laps on the same set of tires, it's a bit much to ask for, especially with how that new update has made it. So these cars not nearly as good on tire life as they once were. These tires can just be chewed up now, especially at racetracks like this one, where you are constantly going to be having to put that car on the edge. So with just a minute left in qualifying and nobody left on the track, it looks like our starting grid is more or less set. Let's talk about some of the challenges that this track could produce. I believe this is one of the only tracks that's really on a big elevation change when it comes to a circuit like this, right? I mean, you've got the downhill run into turn 1, meaning you have to back up your corners a bit earlier. Then you have the arcing corner up the top of the hill going into turn number 3. It's one of the most unique short tracks by far, I think, you could possibly find out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but that entrance to pit road, if you don't just get it just right, especially with these cars being as hard to stop as they are, you could find yourself by yourself on pit road, probably under the wrong set of circumstances.
30 seconds remaining in qualifying. The only driver that has not made an attempt yet has been that of Ken Ayland. All the other drivers have tried and failed to set a qualifying lap, showing just how difficult of a track this is, especially with the new updated package. And with just under 15 seconds left to go before we get qualifying wrapped on up here, I think it's about time we take our quick step away. Let's listen in to the national anthem.
race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Started on pole position for the Goodies 200 at the North Wilkesboro Speedway is going to be that of Josh Schaffner. Lining up beside him will be Kenny Powell, who finished third place in Thursday night's race. Eric Kling sits in third on row number 2 with Chris Johnson lining it up beside him. Barrick Uppole makes her return in the Bucky's 92. He'll be starting in P5 with Greg Wychinski down in 6th. Gary Adamson is in 7th with Joshua O'Connor in 8th. How about Robert Pattengale making a strong performance in qualifying? Going to be starting in 9th place with Frank Flores, his shake-and-bake teammate, beside him in 10th.
Jay Hone in the number 12 car is going to be in 11th with John Mullins in the 12th place position. We got Brian Johnson in 13th with Chris Severa in 14th. Wayne Grassi in that number 7 car in 15th with Ken Alan in the 52 car, rounding out this 16 car field.
16 cars getting set to duke it out for 200 laps, with 2 pace laps still ahead of us as well. And while we are still waiting for the iRacing safety car to get this field underway, want to give a quick shout out as well to Tucson Soundart, the proud title sponsor here of the Tucson Soundart Cup Series. Tucson Soundart introduces an entirely new and enjoyable way to listen to music in your own home. Uploading and making your own images and pictures into Soundart is, well, as easy as counting up to 3. Everyone who looks at the picture will wonder where the great sound is coming from. A single charge will last days and gives you the ability to go truly wireless with no power cables. Soundart looks good in any room in the house, from the front room to the back room. The speakers are powered by batteries and receive audio via a Bluetooth connection, meaning nobody will even know that the art they're looking at is actually producing the sound they're hearing. Tucson Soundart specializes in creating custom artwork from your personal artwork and photos. You can also choose images from their expansive collection of high-quality photos. It's the perfect gift for friends, family, and business associates. To learn more, visit www.tucsonsoundart.com. Pace cars getting set to roll here, Al, and I have a feeling we're going to be getting underway here with what could be a barn burner of race in just a few moments.
Yeah, not only is it going to be a barn burner, but I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction that this race will not be 200 laps for everybody involved. What do you think about that one?
Well, that would line up with what we saw in Thursday night's race, so I have to say I kind of agree with you on that one. The only question is, when does that first caution come out? Didn't take too long for it to come out in the Thursday race, so you wonder if with a bit of a smaller grid, maybe we'll make it a little bit further here in the Saturday race?
Yeah, I hope so. We've seen that the Saturday night races, the drivers have been a little bit more patient for whatever reason, so it's allowed us to have actually fewer cautions. Our last Saturday night, we didn't have a caution, I don't believe, until we got to that third and final stage. So hopefully these guys got everything, all of the practice laps they needed, and we should be able to go and get some green flag laps in as the lights are off on the pace car, and we're getting ready to take this thing green.
Coming around through 3 and 4, we want to thank everybody for joining us on another beautiful Saturday night. Pace car is down and in, and Josh Schaffner leads us to the green flag.
Josh Schaffner is definitely going to try to find his way. It looks like Kenny Powell's going to try to waste no time getting that 24 car around the outside, as he looks like he lost a little bit of a bobble. Schaffner now taking that lead. Looks like he's going to lead us on that first lap.
Schaffner going to take the lead away. That outside line can come into play as Powell gets loose from the top side, but it is going to take a couple of laps and for these drivers to get up to speed and get those tires up to 10 before they can properly make full advantage of it. Here comes the 95. Eric Kling looking to make a charge on the outside line now, trying to do what Kenny Powell couldn't do on lap number 1, but in 3 and 4, that inside line is still holding supreme.
Yeah, and if you could get, the thing is, like you said, waiting on those tires to get up to temperature, because until those tires get warm, it's like this thing's handling like a dump truck. So we'll see if that 95 car, it's 35, gets up to the outside a little bit.
Clipped the curb, entering turn number 3, I think got a bit sideways, and that allowed Chris Johnson to open up the door. So the number 48 Southern Spiral Pipe G&G machine going to go through into second place. Greg Wychinski trying to push Kenny Powell out of the podium positions. Now the number 5 car with Monster Energy all over the hood going to be taking away that third place. And Barrick Uppole sitting just in behind Powell, looks to maybe push him down to 5th.
Yeah, Barrick Uphold made a very strong showing there last week, but I'm telling you who's benefited the most from this, Josh Hoffner. Josh is loving the fact that nobody's on his bumper, and he's actually able to set his own pace, and, that can be very beneficial, especially on a track like this, out there in that good, clean air, setting your own pace, your own direction. So Josh Hoffner's definitely loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror.
We get set to complete lap number 6, single file through just about the entirety of this field. Side by side, a little ways behind, Brian Johnson looking up the inside of John Mullins into turn number 1, while Frank Flores tried to look high, and he's got Patton Gill along his inside now as well. So the Shake and Bake teammates looking to duke it out amongst themselves for about the 12th position on the racetrack, and Flores looking to work that outside line, trying to pull around whatever speed he can in his number 28 SMB Ford Mustang. It looks like he will make up that spot on Robert Patton.
Yeah, sorry, I'm working on some mic issues here, though.
Wayne Grossi now looking around the high side, going to take one up from Robert Pattengill down to the turn number 1. That puts Pattengill now down to the 15th position. Do want to note that one driver already appears to be out of this race, Jay Hone, encountering issues early on. He is in pit road for the time being. Came down on lap number 5, might have gotten loose, tagged the inside wall for the damage I'm seeing on his number 12 machine. Looking a little bit up towards more of the, shall we say, the bottom end of the field. Wayne Grossi now looking to put Flores back down a spot, and that Pennzoil Chevrolet looking to see if he can work his way a little bit further up towards the top 10, but at this point in time, 10th place, quite a bit of a ways up the road, and in fact, currently under fire. Gary Adamson alongside with Joshua O'Connor in the number 39 car up into turn number 3, and O'Connor is going to find a spot up. That'll put Gary Adamson down to 10th place. Move O'Connor up now to P number 9, as we're already crossing over onto lap number 12.
Yeah, as we're coming into lap 12, looks like Josh Hoffner definitely is going to be the car to beat, as he has proven that he definitely has that 50 Premier Chevrolet dialed in.
2 seconds clear already for Josh Hoffner. Definitely the driver to beat today. That is about a quarter of a lap already clear, just about. By the time he hits the front straightaway, Johnson hasn't even exited turn 4. So that goes to show just how powerful of a car Hoffner's got underneath him, and Chris Johnson really can't do a whole lot behind him. So it's Johnson, Wachinski, Powell to lead the main grouping, and it's still single file in that main group as well. Looks like everybody is going to be kind of sitting it out for the time being. Everybody wants to make sure that they can be there to race this one out in the end. Jay Hone has rejoined the racetrack, but is 7 laps down after having some issues back on lap number 5, I believe it was. So Jay Hone, unfortunately, will not be able to have the best of runs. You hear him kind of feathering the throttle almost on corner exit. He does have a little bit of front end damage, and with this trap at 106 degrees, you have to wonder if potentially he's trying to make sure he doesn't overheat that car and blow himself up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just got to be very unfortunate for Hone. He didn't actually have a good finish last Saturday either, so at some point the guys are going to have to show these guys some favor so they can be a little bit more competitive at least.
There you see Schaffner looking to potentially put Jay Hone 8 laps down on the boards, and currently a lap at about 4/10 quicker than him as well. You're right on board with the number 50 car for the time being, with Jay Hone just up the road, and catch lap traffic relatively quickly. I mean, we saw this even in the Thursday night race. Leaders were catch lap traffic around lap 23, 24 or so, and that was with the bigger grid, right? 26 cars, I believe it was, that we had over just a few nights ago. So this is about on par. Unfortunately, it's not a car the lead lap. It is still the driver that is multiple laps down. Hone's going to move up to the top side, and it just allows Schaffner to get through. That'll put Hone 8 down now. He's going to need a miracle if he wants to get back on the lead lap and fight this one. Now look out, Uphold! Sideways, front straightaway, caution flag is out. Well, there's 1 lap back for Jay Hone as Barrick Uphold has taken a spin out of turn number 4 at his Bucky's 92 Mustang, and I'll see him facing the wrong way, right up against the outside wall, and finally gets him moving. Doesn't go a lap down, but caution number 1 on the speedway.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to play well for those guys. And the thing about this track is you self-spin so easy because if you just, well, it looks like he had a little bit of assistance.
Eric Kling tagged the back end of the 92 and sent uphold into the outside wall. Little tap on the back end, and it was the smallest of touches, but those touches is all it's going to take.
Well, hopefully he told him good game because, I mean, that exactly is what that signified.
On board with Eric Kling, you see him down to the third gear. You do shift between third and fourth this track. Right there, just the smallest of nudges, and unfortunately, with a track this hot, it is very difficult to hang on to a car like that. Uphold did a good job to mitigate the damage and was so close to keeping it out of the outside wall in its entirety. And that puts us under the yellow flags for the first time tonight. And you see the track temperature at 108 degrees. It is a hot track surface down there for the time being. A lot of cars did come down to pit road, or I should say a lot. More like 4. Mullins, Severa, Adamson, and Grassi had all come down. So, with pit stops complete and us still pacing behind the safety car, I want to take a quick step away. We'll be back with the second half of Stage 1 in just a moment.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com.
Pace car lights are off, and Schaffner going to take the field around turn number 4. And the premier setup shop number 50 Chevrolet leads us back to green clear by 3 car lengths already out down to the turn number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Schaffner is the one person who didn't want to see that caution flag come out. So I'm not surprised that he actually got that good launch that he did. He's not going to want to get caught back up in traffic. He's going to try to get out front and stay out front because that's really the only way you're going to guarantee you're going to keep your car clean at this track.
And still side by side for spots inside the top 10. Kenny Powell trying to mount a charge on Chris Johnson. Johnson blocks, though, down to the turn number 3. Look out. Eric Kling moving to the top shelf. You got G&G drivers at 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And every single one of them see if they can get themselves sorted. So maybe, just maybe, they can mount an offensive on Josh Schaffner up in front. In behind, it is our hornet's nest of cars. You've got Chris Severa that just pulled away from Gary Adamson. Pat Gill still stuck on the top side. Barrick Uphold got a bit more damage from a bad checkup. They have it on the initial start. Look out for Adamson, screaming down low as he got to lose out of turn number 4. And so far, a lot of drivers having to scramble a little bit to make sure they can keep control of their cars here on some of the fresher rubber that you got out there in the field at the moment.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. That's going to be a reoccurring thing as we put laps down. These guys they're going to pop in whenever they get an opportunity to get tires, so they're not always going to be on the same tire sequence. But Chris Severa, he's a guy that's going to be wanting to charge to get up front because I was watching him in practice, and he was putting down some blistering lap time. So, he can't be happy sitting back in 8th place as this thing rolls on through.
10 laps to go in stage number 1 from North Wilkesboro when you're running of the Goody's Dash 200. Field has once again gotten themselves single filed out. And Chris Johnson up in front, trying to see if he can run down Josh Schaffner and take that race lead away. The gap is 0.8 of a second. Remember, it only took about 15 laps, though, before Josh Schaffner had pulled out a 2-second gap over that of Chris Johnson. So I think the likelihood at this point that Johnson is going to be able to catch Josh Schaffner could be a slim one.
Yeah, it could be, but if there's anybody that would be a candidate for pulling off that short miracle, it would be Johnson. We've seen this guy. He is our defending points champion. We've seen him come out here week after week and bring not only a competitive race car, but actually put himself in a position to win this thing. Schaffner, though, right now is not even having any of it. I mean, he has led this thing so far.
Caution flag has flown, and it is O'Connor this time. Size is on the front straightaway. You saw it right there. Got tagged with Gary Adamson. It was a big wreck on the front straightaway. This will not end the stage. They were a lap and a half shy of being at that threshold.
Yeah, looks like Schaffner looks like O'Connor just lost it there, and so unfortunately for Adamson that he actually gets caught up with him. So too early on in the race, so that's just going to make it a little more interesting because now we have that many more cars that aren't on the lead lap.
You saw it on the replay, O'Connor just breaking loose out of turn number 4, and there was just nowhere for Gary Adamson to go in that mess. Was already committed to his line. No time to react at all. John Mullins did a very good job to escape that unscathed. Same story with Barrick Uphold, who they both managed to just scrape around this mess as it took place right in front of them. You saw Frank Flores taking the lucky dog free pass to push himself onto the lead lap. Now at the moment we're coming to 4 laps to go on what would be regulation time in this stage, right, Al? But it is worth noting, if this stage goes a bit too, or if this caution goes a bit too long, we will extend stage 1 and have a 2-lap shootout to end stage 1.
So it'll be very interesting to see how everybody stacks up on this, because no matter what, you're probably going to pit at the end of the stage. So if you're up front, there's no way you're going anywhere. You're going to stay out front. You're going to try to get those very valuable stage points, because man, those things are elusive and are not available, but only twice, right?
And the way it's looking right now, it is going to be a confirmed 2-lap dash. The only question is it going to be an overtime or not for stage 1? Which, by the way, would shorten up stage 2 quite significantly.
But here's the question, though. How clean are we going to be at the end of this stage? A guy's going to let it all hang out. You know, Schaffner's been out front. He's going to try to get a good launch again. But is Powell going to actually be able to launch an offensive, or is he actually going to sit back? So that's going to be one thing that we're going to have to see as well.
I have a feeling you're going to see guys like Kenny Powell and Chris Johnson that are not going to be taking this easy in the slightest. They're going to be go, trying to push their way through. I want to point out Gary Adamson did not pit under that last caution flag. He wanted to stay out despite having a damaged race car.
But you know who did pit? Chris Johnson. So Chris Johnson ultimately gave up some valuable track position, and maybe he knows something that we don't, but he actually put himself out of the points right now if this thing were to stay like it is. So very interesting call on him, giving up that second place spot to come on in and get 4 freshies and fuel.
And it will be overtime by just 1 lap. O'Connor has retired from the race. So 2-lap dash for North Wilkesboro. Pace car is going to pull down and in, this time by, and Schaffner's got to see if he can hang on for just 1 more mile. We're back to green.
And Josh Schaffner gets that launch just like we thought, but Paul's going to try to get to the inside. Schaffner holding him off and actually putting that run, as we see Severa now trying to come along the outside as he's going to challenge Paul for that second place.
Trying to challenge, but Powell has got to see if he can fend off Severa and then go on Josh Schaffner, but Severa is not going to give this one up by any stretch of the means, and Schaffner still holding clear out in front, wrecking in the back, and that will end stage number 1 as Aylin finds himself in the outside wall.
That caution seems to become a very common thing for us here as we're trying to get this first stage in the books. So that will end the first stage. Correct. That puts Schaffner as the first stage winner.
That is correct. Schaffner, your stage 1 winner.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate there for Alan, as it looks like that 5 car just kind of drove right through him, not really giving him an opportunity. I don't know what Wachinski was thinking, but I know he's going to ultimately have to get on the radio and say something. You know, you can't tag somebody like that, especially this early on. I don't understand what happened.
On board with Wachinski, just tried to go for a hole that wasn't there, and that shoved Kalen up into the outside wall. I think Flores might have caught a piece of that as well.
You know, so what we've done here in this first stage is we've torn up a lot of cars. So a lot of guys, like I told you, this race wasn't going to be 200 laps for everybody. Just amazing that drivers are driving so aggressive, especially that far back in the field. You know what I mean?
I mean, back there is where it really counts. That is where all the stage points are, and those points can seriously matter. You know, in longer races like these, the longer we kind of space things out, especially since, you know, we're now in the second half of the season. You have to start worrying about stage point. Chris Severa is one of those drivers as well, and guys Kenny Powell and Chris Johnson, they have to be aggressive with this as well, because Severa is currently 54 points clear of Kenny Powell coming into tonight's race. Whereas Josh Schaffner, you know, he is 81 points out. So Schaffner especially needs to get a move on with these points here so he can even be in title contention by the end of the season.
Yeah, and I'm still, I mean, I don't like to sit up and try to second guess what the guys are doing on the track. That's not what we're trying to do. But I'm still perplexed at what took place with Johnson, the reason why he would take himself away from that second place position, because those points are very, very important. So as we are looking at this thing, looks like
you want to know why he did that? It's because he's putting himself in a good position for stage 2. He's in second place at the moment, remember? So because he pitted earlier on what would have been just a 2-lap dash, he's now going to find himself, you know, well in front with a good space to potentially run away and get a stage 2 win. I mean, arguably, that could be better even when he could work his way up and get some stage points stage 1, because he did finish in the top 10. He got 1 stage point for the opening stage, and now he's in pretty good contention to get another 10 for a stage 2 win.
Yeah, if only it were that easy. I mean, we had how many cautions in that first stage? I think 3. So here we go, getting ready to start that second stage. We're already deeper into the second stage. So he's gonna have to get his elbows out if he's gonna try to preserve that position for as long as it's gonna take, because you've got Severa coming, you've got Schaffner coming. These guys aren't just going to sit back there and just let him sit up front and be okay with it. As the pace car comes back in, we're ready to go green again.
Rossi takes the green flag, but Johnson got a better launch on the 48 car. Clears into turn number 1. Rossi trying to fight back, but gets chopped off by the 48 Mustang. They thunder back up the hill into turn number 3. Behind, looking 3 wide. Josh Schaffner on the attack. Mullins forces Severa to the outside wall. He has to back out to avoid running the 62 into the outside wall. And all the while, Schaffner continues to hold strong. Berg-Upholden looking to see if he can maintain whatever spots he can. Mullins pulling around the outside line. Chris Johnson not safe by any stretch of the means, as Schaffner's already promoted himself up to P4.
And Johnson definitely right now, like you said, if he has any chance whatsoever, he is going to have to get that car in the win, establish a lead, and pray that there's not a caution. But with three wide racing already at lap freaking 49 of this thing, I don't see how we could avoid another caution.
Severa looking to fight the inside line still from Wayne Grossi, who is in a bit of a battle for spots now outside of the top 5 as Severa pushes his way up into the number 5. Now Grossi trying to hang on to whatever spots he can here. Caution flag is out, and Gary Adamson has been turned yet again deeper in the field, and I think this time no contact being made by anybody except for Adamson's tires on the pavement. Self-spin for the number 36.
Yeah, like I said, this is a track that is very easy to do that, especially going into 3 and 4. If you just get out of it just a little bit, burp the gas, around you're going to go. Luckily for him, he didn't make contact with anybody because that car just couldn't really stand another hit, to be honest. Unfortunately for Gary, I think he's been involved in almost every caution we had except for the stage end.
Very lucky that guys like Ken Allen didn't run into him under that yellow flag. Jay Hone will take another lap back. That puts him just 5 down now. And we're now 1/4 of the way. Whoa, look out! Hone spinning out on the front straightaway, trying to take his lap back and slamming the inside wall. Oh boy, that is a mistake that he's going to be eager to forget.
Well, yeah, at least that happened when it did because, you know, he wouldn't even have qualified for that free pass had he actually spun like that a little bit sooner. So he's going to be very fortunate that he was actually getting one of his laps back. So that's going to work out pretty good for Hone. Like you said, he's now 5 laps back, being the only driver that's actually not shown on the lead lap that's still active. So just not a good day for him. Hopefully he can turn his luck around and get himself a chance to at least come out of this thing with some points.
So I think we're 2 laps to green at the time being. Chris Johnson is your race leader. Brian Johnson sits second. Schaffner's third. Then it's Uphold, Severa, Grassi, Kling, Mullins, Kenny Powell, and Greg Wachinski round out the top 10. I'm going to keep one eye on Kenny Powell throughout the course of this race as well, because remember, he finished 3rd place in the Butt Kicker Cup Series race. That 24 car's got some speed underneath him. He's just going to have to get a bit more, I would say, better fortunes if he wants to work his way back up and get another podium tonight.
Yeah, well, the person who is probably the most nervous person on the racetrack right now is just going to have to be that 48 car Chris Johnson, because on the restart he's going to have Schaffner. It's going to be in his rearview mirror, and Josh is definitely going to be trying to put that car back on the lead. You understand?
I certainly do. They start to double it up as the pace car lights once again go out. And we get set to see what these drivers are once again made of, with what will be 25 laps left to go in stage number 2 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Pace car going to come down and in. And Chris Johnson once again takes us back to green.
Yeah, at this point, Schaffner's not coming. Schaffner's here as he gets that 50 Premier Chevy right there lined up behind that 48 car Chris Johnson. This is a classic battle, Ford versus Chevy, as these guys are going to be prepared to duke it out. Schaffner has the faster car, and he's definitely going to try to prove that, but he still has to get by Johnson in order to take the lead. Johnson's just not going to lay over and let him go.
So far, so good. Here comes Schaffner charging for the race lead up into turn number 3. And Powell getting out of shape as well. How about Eric Kling sideways onto the back straightaway through turn number 3. Crash front straightaway. Schaffner didn't get the leader. And it's Barrett got pulled once again going around the number 92 Bucky's Mustang, having yet more struggles for the Shake and Bake crew. And that is a very, shall we say, unappealing looking front end for the time being. And this time, no help. Just wrecked by himself on the front straightaway.
You're going to have that on those big jobs. But he's just not doing himself any favor just beating that car up like that. I don't know what exactly is going on, but at some point we're going to have to settle down and try to get a good, decent green flag run going. Guys aren't even being able to collect that data that they need because the track temperature's changed. Now you're out there, you're running laps. You don't even know what adjustments to make because we really haven't had a long green flag run. It's just unfortunate right now.
Well, I think we have to give them some slack here with that. Remember, this package was released on Wednesday. Like, it hasn't even been out for 5 days yet, let alone, which is not nearly enough time to realistically be able to build a setup that you know is going to run well as being able to kind of work around yourself. I think that's why we're seeing quite a few guys having to get a little bit looser. Oh, we'll get another lap back, putting him now 4 down, I believe, as Eric Kling has retired from this race. So challenges of a new package. I think that's what we're seeing here. We saw it a little bit in the Thursday race. It cleaned up big time in stage number 3. I have a feeling it's going to be a similar trend here on Saturday.
Well, if it doesn't, then we're not going to have many cars left. But, like my mother used to say, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, you must be Alfonso next in a second. So we are definitely, maybe I have been a little bit hard on these guys, but I'm just saying it's got to be frustrating from a driver's perspective to not actually be able to get into a race rhythm even. We haven't been able to do that.
Chris Severa is at the moment the driver who has made up the most spots. Started 14th. He was one of the 4 drivers that did not set a qualifying lap. He's up to 3rd place on the racetrack. So good run for Severa, who was plus 11 on the day. And in a 16-car field, that's about as far up as you can possibly climb.
Yeah, and as we get ready to double these things up again and go racing, now Schaffner, like I said earlier, he's not coming, he's here. So Johnson did a very good job of holding him off in order to maintain the race lead. But now it's going to be interesting because instead of Schaffner being behind him, he's going to be beside him. So how do they enter into turn 1 coming off of this thing as the pace car is, but the lights are still on the pace car. But when we do go back green flag racing, I think this is probably going to be some of the best racing that we've seen so far tonight.
I'm amazed that Schaffner didn't get Chris Johnson there when that caution flag came out. He was alongside and had so Chris Johnson was in front on the outside and in turn 1. Caution flew, and a split second afterwards, Schaffner pulled in front. That was how fine the margin was. Schaffner is going to be going all out on the offensive here on this restart.
So, yeah, real quick, Nolan, let me ask you a question. On this restart, if you're not the leader, where you want to be? You want to be 2nd or 3rd?
Second place has shown that it can make something work on the top side, and Schaffner going to make that trend ring true, I would imagine. Green flag's back in the air, and Will Schaffner trying to pull the outside, cuts in line with Chris Severa. Looking for the over-under, going to dive one up the inside of Chris Johnson into turn 3, but he's not gonna get there a little bit, and Chris Johnson washing wide out of turn number 4, but covering off the number 50 car into turn number 1, and that's going to cost Schaffner a little bit of time.
I think right now is what we're looking at as we're getting ready to have ourselves a 4-way battle for the lead, because these 4 cars that are up front are actually proven that they are all fast cars. So I think this is the most exciting thing, because now we're going to see who's actually going to show their hand. Someone's going to have to as we get closer to the end of this stage, show exactly what they got under the hood, so to speak.
Greg Wyszynski, John Mullins looking to do battle. That's the battle for 7th place on the racetrack. Looks like Wyszynski just won now in that little engagement. Meanwhile, Kenny Powell made a spot up on Wayne Grossi for P number 5 as well. That battle has since started to simmer down. Looks like things are settling down once again, as they tend to do so after about 4 or 5 laps or so under green flag conditions. The field just needs time to get themselves single filed out, and a couple of drivers already breaking loose on the exit of turn 4 in particular. Seems to be the trouble spot for that kind of behavior.
Yeah, and Grassy Wing was up front when we started this thing. He has slipped all the way back as far as 7th place. So I think maybe it's interesting to see if his car is actually set up maybe for more of a long run than a short run, because a lot of these guys understand that, and they do set their cars up just for the longer run instead of the shorter run. So as we get ready to go, hopefully get some more green flag laps, and we'll be able to see maybe which one of these cars is going to start to show to be maybe faster on a longer run.
And you see Greg Wyszynski looking to continue to climb his way further up the grid, now looking to pressure Wayne Grossi for the 6th position on the racetrack. Looks the Pennzoil Chevrolet might be falling back just a little bit more at the end of stage number 2, of which there are now just 10 laps remaining.
So with 10 laps to go in stage 2, we'll run down the order for you. We have Chris Johnson in the lead, followed by Josh Schaffner in 2nd place. Brian Johnson holding firm in 3rd, with Chris Severa in 4th place. Kenny Powell in 5th place. Wayne Grossi in the 7th car in 6th place. Greg Wyszynski in that 5 car in 7th. John Mullins in 8th. Frank Flores in 9th. Gary Adamson rounds out our top 10.
I'll put Aylin in 11th with Uppole down in 12th, still looking to regain lost time. Pat Gale and Pat Gale, is in 3rd place. Oh, it is Ken Aylin and Robert Pat Gale. I'm getting a bit confused here. Battling for 12th place with Jay Hone in 14th, the last running car on track. Kling, O'Connor, both marked as DNFs so far on the day. I am noticing Schaffner has not made any moves for the race lead up in front, and you have to wonder if maybe he's lost the advantage that the fresh rubber would have given him.
Yeah, no doubt. At this point, he probably has lost that advantage. But if you know Schaffner, he is just going to sit right back there behind Johnson. He's going to wait on the right opportunity. That's what he's doing. Schaffner's proven that time again. But also, interesting, Jay Hone is already getting 3 of his laps back, so that's ought to be good news for him. He might actually find himself close to back on the lead lap the way this thing is going.
5 laps to go. Jay Hone at this point to get back on the lead lap would need 3 cautions outside of this upcoming stage caution here in a few laps. That is providing that nobody else goes a lap down. So he's going to have to hope that those cautions come in pretty quick succession here.
Yeah, I know. It seems like when we're good, we're good. But the awesome thing right now is we're coming down to the end of this stage. Schaffner versus Johnson. And Severa, he's also fallen back off the pace a little bit. So either that or Powell's gotten faster. So I always like to see, when we get closer to the stage, because these guys are fighting for the money. It only pays through for the top 10 guys. So if you're not in the top 10, you're not going to get anything. So this is the time where points matter. And there's just not a lot of opportunities to gain points in these events.
Pit road has closed. We're 2 laps to go in stage number 1. Brian Johnson looking to see if he can maybe punch a hole through on Schaffner's defenses to make his way up to P number 2. That would make it not just a Johnson, but a G&G 1-2 finish in stage number 2. Kenny Powell also looking to apply the pressure for a podium finish in the 2nd stage. Last lap getting underway here from North Wilkesboro for this 2nd stage on the night, and coming around through turns 3 and 4, and yet again, Chris Johnson will be a stage winner in the Iverson Stock Car Association. He'll win stage number 2.
With Josh Schaffner coming in 2nd, and Brian Johnson taking 3rd. Kenny Powell finishing 4th. Chris Severa will be in 5th. Greg Wachinski in 6th. Wayne Grossi in 7th. Frank Flores is going to be in 8th. Barrett Uphold in 9th. And Gary Adamson is going to end those point positions in that end of stage 2.
And with that, we'll take a quick step away under the stage 2 caution. We'll be back in a moment.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And welcome back to the Iverson Stock Car Association and your running of the Goodies 200 from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Want to just give a quick apology on the rather selective language that a certain crew chief had opted to use. Apparently must have been on the same frequency as our commentary channel must have been on. We're now in stage number 3, and this is where pit strategy can really start to come into play big time. You got 118 laps of fuel estimated, less than 118 laps left to go now. That being said, drivers are almost guaranteed going to be coming on down for tires before they run their tanks dry on fuel. The advantage you get from fresh rubber about halfway through the fuel run is far too great to ignore.
Yeah, not only that, but also the fact that the car totally handles different once you start to run that thing out of gas as well. And with the amount of self-spins that we've already had, I just don't see why anybody would not take advantage of the opportunity to get a better handle on the car.
As lights turn off over the iRacing safety car, we will double it up and get set to go right back at it. Jay Hone, looking to work the top side, takes another lap back. That puts Hone now 3 laps down. Still needs 3 more cautions to get himself back onto the lead lap. Chris Johnson maintains the race lead with Brian Johnson now in second after pit stops. Schaffner's down to third. Pace car's down and in. And we're green for stage 3.
We are green for the third and final stage.
Oh, and wrecking already! There got pulled. And this time there will not be a yellow flag. The 92 car, though, wrecked on the front straightaway. And all the while, Brian Johnson has taken the lead around the outside on the restart.
Well, Chris Severa just definitely giving Josh Schaffner everything that he can, trying to, like I said, make this a 3-way battle for the lead. Schaffner's going to definitely try to get up there because he's not going to be content. This is the time now where you got to get out front. You got to go, because if you don't, you're just going to be stuck behind somebody. So,
oh, look out! Severa way to the inside line, and he'll manage to hang on to it in his number 62 Cancer Awareness Ford Mustang, and it was a close call, though. He tagged the inside wall, held with it. Damage on the left front, of that vehicle. Now trying to regain lost time.
Yeah, definitely not what Severa wanted to see. He was actually doing a pretty good job of getting that car up front, but we've seen Chris Severa, if anybody can recover from an incident like that, Chris Severa can. So he'll battle back. He'll be back up front. No problem at all.
110 laps left to go. Brian Johnson still running out in front by half a second, as you saw. Kenny Powell trying to hunt the inside of, I believed, was that of Frank Flores in the battle for 7th. In fact, that is the battle I'm thinking of. So P7 looking like it's up for grabs as Flores now trying to fight back, taking a wider arc and being deeper on the brakes, but not able to get the hammer down as much as he would have liked. So Flores is going to have to once again take this one the long way around 3 and 4 as now Severa looks to pounce back.
Yeah, Chris Severa is actually going to show his nose on the inside to try to pick up that position from Flores. So is this one of those situations where you think Frank Flores is maybe trying to conserve his tires for the longer run, or you think that maybe, what's going on? What's your strategy here? Because as this thing plays out, I always like to entertain how you think it's going to play out.
I think now that we're a little bit deeper into this race, we'll be seeing a bit of a longer green flag run. That's what we saw in Stage 3 just a little while ago. There was one caution in all of Stage 3 back 3 nights ago in the Butt Kicker Cup Series. And other than that, it was green to the end. So I think that now that the stages are over and done with, everybody's going to kind of back off a little bit. They're going to be a bit easier, try to conserve a bit of tires, conserve a little bit of fuel, and see really just where the track leads them and how these tires shake up.
Yeah, in the tire wear here, like you said, it definitely is a huge factor. So be interesting to see who can actually preserve their stuff for the longest and who's actually going to go out there and eat it up. This track is not kind of anybody. And we also got a new tool in our race. We actually get to see tire temperatures. So now another dimension that these guys are going to have to actually dial these cars in here for the long run as we continue this thing under green flag racing.
John Mullins running a bit further in the back, being put under pressure by Robert Pattengale with Ken Aylen just tucked in behind. Aylen running a bit of an interesting rear downforce configuration. You see no rear bumper on the number 52, but spoiler is intact, so clearly not being affected all too much by the damage that the number 52 car has, that, running the rear bumper or without a rear bumper might entail. And he's just hanging around with the back end of John Mullins on Pattengill for the time being, wanting to take it easy and wait to see what happens in this fight up in front. Because obviously if they take each other out, well, that's a free 2 spots for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So these guys, they're gonna be racing, but at some point. But right now, it just makes no sense. Like I said, everybody has just got to be available here towards the end of these things. Your biggest enemy, so to speak, is going to be yourself. Because if you overdrive it into the turn, these things will slide up on you. You just have to be cautious, and you have to be able to read that racetrack.
And you see Gary Adamson starting to slip back. Was 8th place, now 12th. And he is really feathering the throttle. So I really think that the damage on the front end of Gary Adamson is starting to really, really hurt him. And he is having to back it up as much as he possibly can just to keep that car from blowing up.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this is as long as he doesn't put his foot in it and he does feather around and take it easy, he can preserve the life of that thing, maybe get himself a little bit further down the road, because he's going to want to try to go as long as he can to try to secure as many spots as he can. He cannot afford another DNF. Those things are going to start to add up as we get through this season. Guys are just going to have to find a way to get points however they can.
Take a look at some of the battles going on around the track. Greg Wachinski going to be in a bit of a scrap with Kenny Powell for the time being. Battle for 4th place, looking to pick on up. Powell had looked up the inside in the turn 1. Maybe taking a title line through 4 to try to get back to him, but passing at North Wilkesboro is no small feat. It's not like Martinsville. You can really just get a good run, just send one up the inside into a corner. You have to really set these moves up, and you can take several laps to try to get by him, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to racing for position at the end of the race, you don't have to be fully clear, you just have to have the nose in front of them. So I think that might be the goal for a lot of these drivers, to just see if they can, at the very least, push the nose in front by the time you get to start-finish.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of guys are just going to kind of lay back, and then as we get closer to the end of this thing, they'll actually mount their charge. Because it's amazing if you look, even the gap between 2nd and 3rd, so right now, those guys can't be comfortable. Somebody's going to pit, somebody's not, but those guys aren't going to be comfortable if they let that gap keep getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, and Wachinski tried to pinch in Chris Johnson that time, but I think they actually might have made a little bit of contact, and that's what muscled Wachinski out wide. And that allows Kenny Powell to fight down the inside, taking advantage of an open hole, but he's not going to be able to get there in time. Now, I don't think these guys are going to fight each other out too hard, seeing as how they are all on the same team. Powell still looking for the inside. And Wachinski, though, looks like he's not going to want to give this spot up without a fight.
Well, yeah, it's not even that, but you just can't give up your momentum, because it's not just about losing this position. If you just lift, not only now you're looking at losing this position, but you're going to have grass that's going to be knocking on your door as well. So, Wachinski just trying to keep it honest, keep it clean, not trying to race his teammate too hard, but at the same token, not just trying to give up a bunch of track position at the same time.
Powell secures the 4th position for now. Next target will no doubt be one Kenny Powell. Jay Hone has been working so hard to try to get his laps back, but he did just go 4 laps down yet again. He worked his way from 7 laps up to 3. It's such a shame that Jay Hone now finds himself so far down. You saw him just at the tail end of the shot in the blue and red STP Mustang. Not Jay Hone's night, but hey, there is still 5 more races to go in the season after tonight.
Yeah, and his luck's got to change at some point anyway. So you just gotta keep showing up. You got to keep swinging at it. Those guys might not have had clean runs every race so far, but sure enough, their opportunity is gonna show, and they'll be able to maybe even get up on the podium as Brian Johnson continues to lead us around this track. Josh Schaffner just tucked in there. He is closing that gap ever so slightly every lap. Looks like he's not going to tuck his nose there on the inside. At some point, he will be challenging for the lead.
Deep into the second half of this race by now. Schaffner looking a bit higher this time by entering turn 1. trying to maybe get a switch back. Bobble from Brian Johnson opens the door, and Schaffner going to take full advantage. Deeper on the brakes for turn 3. And that number 50 Premier Racing Setup Shop Chevrolet going to be up into the race lead. Johnson still trying to fight the outside line, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to that one.
No, looks like our race lead will transition as these guys are now getting ready to start to catch up to the tail end of the field. So now we're going to have lap cars that are coming into effect. And like you said, passing here it's something that you actually have to plan on and set up. So Schaffner going to want to definitely be looking to try to get that inside line there to get by these guys without giving up any position whatsoever to Johnson.
And these guys are battling as well. Look to P10, the 28 and the 64. John Mullins and Frank Flores. You see them side by side, just up the road from your race leader. They've been side by side for a few laps, and they're making contact now. Down the back straightaway, John Mullins getting aggressive and now pushing up the track. That's going to muscle Flores out wide. And Flores looking to maybe get him back into turn number 1, but decides to back out. Probably thinks it's just not worth it.
Yeah, because what you're fighting for is you're fighting for that position. You don't want to be the last car. You want to be the last car lapped by the leader, not the first, because that's going to be a big factor when it comes to that lucky dog or that free pass. So even though these guys are about to go a lap down, they still have to race each other for track position.
And they're technically under no obligation to let the race leader through either, since they're in a bit of a fight. But now that John Mullins is pulling away, there you see it right there. Flores moving up high to allow race leader Josh Schaffner to break through and put him a lap down. And no doubt John Mullins will think similar. Flores, can he maybe capitalize on this? Don't think he'll be able to.
Yeah, it's always disheartening, man, when you're actually out here and you're giving it all you got, and then you see Josh Schaffner driving by you on the inside like he's just toting the groceries. So just a heck of a race, though. Heck of an effort. So far, this third stage has just been awesome. Guys have settled into their race rhythm. They're just finding their lines. Everybody's taking their time, and we're getting some good green flag racing in.
As we continue to advance deeper and deeper into tonight's 200-lap event, a bit curious here to get your thoughts on this one. The next 3 races, or I should say the next 2 races coming on before we kick off the Super Cup Series season at Daytona, are a bit unusual. You got the NASCAR road course at Daytona, which will be in just 2 weeks' time, and 1 week from now, how about the Kentucky Speedway? That is a track we have not been at in a very, very long time, and that is, of course, a track that I don't believe I'm wrong, but that was put out of service in 2018, or was it 17?
It's either 17 or 18, but I do know the Kentucky Speedway now is a parking lot for F-150. So when you ask me what I think about going to Kentucky, I think I'm just going to defer my option on that one to the second half. Now, the Daytona road course, however, these cars on road courses is what I believe these cars were designed to do. So I'm excited to actually be able to run these competitively on the road course. I think it's going to be exciting for the sport. It's also going to test these drivers a little bit as well, because I know road courses actually test my skill. So I can't wait to actually do the road course. More excited about that anyway.
Well, you say they're meant for road course racing. Fun fact, I actually got the privilege of watching one of these stock car races at a road course just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm divided on that fact, because there were a lot of little spins, but whether that was up to driver skill or down to the cars is up for debate. That was, of course, prior to this new build taking place. I don't know how they're going to race now, but I'd assume with what we've been seeing so far here tonight, it could prove a very big challenge for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, just like the setup change did this week. I mean, guys literally were back to square one as far as the setup for the car. So it seemed like everything that you've learned in the last 6 weeks is just kind of out the window. So, and I believe more of those changes are coming, especially to make these things manageable under the road course conditions. So I believe there's going to be more changes in our future for that before we actually see the finished product.
And then 3 weeks from now, you have Auto Club. Finally, we get to return to glorious, glorious Auto Club Speedway. I think that is something that nobody's going to complain about. It is a track that is amazing to drive on. It provides outstanding racing in these Gen 7 cars. And it's a good race to just watch, like sit back and watch too. You know, it's fun to drive, fun to race at, fun to watch. I mean, it's not everything you could possibly hope for. What a way to get into a penultimate round for a championship. And then, of course, Vegas will officially round out the season. I'll tell you what, there are quite a few very unique and I'm going to dare to say, interesting tracks coming up in just a few weeks' time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, excited about every track because since we are running these Gen 7 cars, it's never going to be like it ever was. So as we are rolling through these laps, let's run down our Tucson Sound Art running order. We have Josh Schaffner in the lead, followed by Brian Johnson. Chris D. Johnson's in third place, Kenny Powell fourth, Greg Wachinski in fifth, Chris Severa sixth, Wayne Grossi seventh, Ken Aland, the first car at 1 lap down, in eighth. Robert Pattingale a lap down in ninth, and Gary Adamson rounds out our top 10.
That will put one Frank Flores still a lap down in 11th with Jay Hone in 12th, 4 laps down. John Mullins in pit road and out of the race car. In 13th, he'll join the likes of Uphold, Kling, and O'Connor so far, who have been marked as DNF. So that was your Tucson Sound Art midway race break, and Tucson Sound Art introduces an entirely new and enjoyable way to listen to music in your own home. Uploading and making your own images and pictures into Sound Art is easy. Let's count into 3. Single charge can last you days and gives you the ability to go truly wireless, no power cables. It is the perfect gift for friends, family, and business associates. To learn more, visit www.tucsonsoundart.com. Let's take a quick step away, and we'll be back with the rest of your race in just a few moments.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
I'm alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Green flag pit stops underway. Greg Wachinski was the first driver to take them down. Brian Johnson was soon to follow, out of second place, promoting Josh Schaffner to the race lead with Chris Johnson down in second. Powell third, Severa fourth, Grossi in fifth. Just 5 cars now on the lead lap. Brian Johnson no longer among them. He could cycle through there, though, once we get through this little bit of a pit cycle here. So I think now is going to be the big ticket question. When do you come down to get that fresh rubber?
I don't know. I think you watch and you observe and see how the lap times of the guys that took the fresh rubber fall off versus what your current lap time is, and then you do the math and it'll let you know.
Oh no! The GNG teammates just took each other out for the lead! Chris Johnson finds himself facing backwards and the caution's out. Kenny Powell just took out his own GNG teammate from second place.
That is not what you want to see happen at all, especially teammates. Let's take a look at this. Looks like Johnson is gonna. Looks like Powell just ran in too hard on him.
That hit in the left rear was what did it, and an overcorrection sends Chris Johnson crashing out of the race. And that puts us under yet another caution flag on the day. Just when you thought it was starting to calm down, that happens. That is a huge hit.
Yeah, that is not. We'll have to definitely figure out what happened there, because that's definitely not what you want to see, and that's not what happens usually. But this totally changes everything. This caution right here is going to completely alter the outcome of this race. You agree with that?
I'm not so sure. I mean, we're under 60 laps to go. That was around when people were coming down anyway for pit stops. This has just allowed everybody to get back onto the same cycle as each other.
And it'll also Chris Johnson to see his night come to a totally an unfortunate end. Well, and what I mean is this changes the entire strategy of the race, because now there's no pit strategy. Now it's just a matter of getting back out there, saving your tires, and seeing who's actually going to be able to be faster at the end of this thing, providing we don't have yet another caution.
Good grief. I did not expect to see that. I mean, the G&G guys are usually so good on trying to keep it out of each other. You very rarely see them make such a big error like that.
Yeah, it was a very uncharacteristic error, especially with Powell. I don't know. Something would have had to happen like that. He must have misjudged the turn, but that's the only thing I can imagine. It just looks like he just got sucked right up into Johnson. I didn't see any tire smoke, but you can't believe that he would have did that intentionally.
Bumping around gone wrong, baby. I mean, they were really close for second place all the way through that commercial break we had just done. If there's ever a track to use the bumper at, this would be one of them. So who knows?
Oh, don't worry. We've got plenty of bumping coming in our future. I guarantee you that. With these cars now being stacked up like this, it's back to, anybody's race. So the more cars that are going to be able to stay on the lead lap and be competitive towards this thing, the more chances of having more contact for us as this thing continues to go for us.
Down to just 11 cars running on the racetrack, with Ken Allen back in pit road and still sitting in pit road. So make that 10 cars at the moment, and it'll be 11 as he is now exiting back on the racetrack. Pace car is down, and then only 8 cars properly lined up, and we go back to green flag racing, and Schaffner clear by a country mile.
Yeah, now this is going to be Schaffner's. It's going to be Schaffner's race to lose. If he can get out there, get front, and as Powell looks like he's going to actually show his way on the inside of Severa. If Schaffner can go ahead and get his lead now, this will be his race to lose.
Looks like he secured that lead for now. Kenny Powell's too busy duking it out with Chris Severa to be able to mount a proper charge. You see him going all sorts of defensive down into turn number 3. That allows Severa to lunge around the outside line, and that will allow for Schaffner to pull away by just another tenth or so. And every tenth at a track like this matters more so than I'd say almost any other track he got on the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. But you saw Powell get a little loose there. Just gives you an indication of just how hard these drivers are trying to drive these cars. So they're not going to just let Schaffner run away with it. But at the same token, you have to drive this track. This isn't a track where you can just kind of close your eyes or just take it easy and set the cruise control. Each one of these turns is going to prove to be, worth that tenth of a second or more.
Saw Severa get loose out of turn number 2. That allowed Wayne Grossi to power around the outside line and take up that spot.
Hopefully Grossi will actually be able to keep that 7 car up front tonight and be able to at least get him a podium or decent finish. Those guys, like I said, they've had some bad luck week in and week out. It's about time for them to be able to get their share of the biscuits. He's just got to keep that thing on the track, keep it out of trouble, and try to be available. I know I say that all the time, but at some point, these guys have got to they got to create their own luck. You can't just go out here every week and just go with the luck that you're given. At some point, I believe you got to change your own luck. You got to do something different. You know, put your shoes on the wrong feet or something, but you got to do something.
And Wayne Grossi could potentially move up quite a few spots in the point standings because of this. He is currently sitting behind Adrian Watson and Don Avery, both of which are no-shows on the night. So that is going to be a free 2 spots for Grossi right there, guaranteed at the end of the night. That will put him up to, I believe, 6th place in points. And at the moment, coming into this race, he's only about 21 points back behind Greg Wyszynski as well, who is right now behind him as well. So this is going to be great for Wayne Grossi. He'll put himself up to a point where he could potentially battle for a top 5 finish in the point standings of this first season.
Yeah, but like I said, though, he's got to drive the car to get there. You know, we can't just pin everybody with a ribbon. You know, that's the thing. These guys have been in a position to be up front, and late on in the race, they just had some simple mistakes, and that's cost them dearly over this season. So they got to avoid that big mistake tonight if they're going to want to try to capitalize on that on those 2 points positions, because that's huge at this stage of the game.
Coming to 40 laps to go in about 2-3 laps or so here. Looks like things are already getting a bit settled out, but that is to be expected, really, when you have a lot of cars that have damage on them, right? I mean, you got Brian Johnson who's got a clean car, Hattengale's got a clean car, Severa, well, not even Severa, Grossi's got a clean car, and Schaffner has a clean car. That's about it. Those 4 drivers are all clean. Everybody else has got some damage somewhere. Oh, I'm not saying that. Frank Flores has got no damage as well. So you got about half the guys still running that are undamaged, but the skill gap amongst those drivers is so big that we're seeing a lot of these battles now starting to split apart over the entirety of the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing is, the more laps you do have at a track like this, the better you're going to be. And that's the only thing that's going to make a difference is just repetition. If you figure that line combination out to go around this place, it's not something that you forget. You know, this is North Wilkesboro Speedway, so this isn't a track that is even currently running, but there is an effort in the state of North Carolina to revive this racetrack. I remember it when I was a kid, but if you can figure out the race line, you can definitely have a great time on this track.
Powell's trying to run down Schaffner still. You can see that happening just up the road from Wayne Grossi, who you're kind of watching along with right now. Grossi is also still trying to keep Severa at bay, so 3rd and 4th. Started to separate from 2nd and 1st. That is not helped by Ken Aylin, kind of holding both drivers up around the outside line. Shall we say not being the most generous in letting them through, though he does let Severa through quite nicely. Off of turn 2, up the back straightaway into turn number 3. And all of them are breaking away big time from 5th place. They've got about a whole straightaway on the 5th place driver at the moment in this battle for 4th.
Yeah, I know, and I'm watching that 62 car of Chris Severa. He was blistering fast at practice, you know. So I don't know. All of his damage should have been repaired. I'm just trying to figure out what's actually going on with him, because he seems to be a little bit slower than he had been, and I'm wondering if it's a result of damage or what.
Well, you have to keep in mind when it comes to fixing damage, right? Yeah, he's had quite a few points to fix the damage, but even under caution laps aren't greater than 45 seconds. And if you have more than a minute of repairs, you can't take it all at once, because you have to not just leave yourself with time to repair some of the damage, you also have to leave yourself enough time to come out of pit roads. You can only really be in there, you can only afford to be there about 10 laps longer, and who's that in the grass? That's Jay Hone.
That's Jay Hone's just parked there down on the inside of that turn. Not sure what's going on with that. Maybe he's trying to get himself around, but I don't know. Just another rough night for Jay. He hadn't had a whole lot of good luck this season. Where is he actually at in the points?
A bit further down, if memory serves me right. I'll try to dig that up here. He is currently looks to be 16th place in points. His next close competitor is Eric Kling, who is already retired. They were just 2 points apart, so Jay Hone will be able to get around Kling in the point standings after tonight, but he will not get around Flores, who is tied with Kling for 14th place. Flores will be able to pull away, being already multiple laps ahead of him on track.
And that's the reason why we talk about the importance of completing as many laps as you can, because those laps do count. Kenny Powell right now looks to be the only competition for Josh Schaffner. So as Powell continues to stay behind Schaffner, it looks like Grassi and Severa both are falling back. And that's not because those guys are getting slower. I think that's just a result of Schaffner actually being consistently fast on this track. He is consistently putting down very fast lap times. That last lap that we had, though, actually the 4-car Brian Johnson had the fastest. And him and Greg Wojcinski have actually been bouncing back and forth on that honor.
And up to the top shelf goes Wayne Grassi. Severa is through to the podium. I have a feeling that Grassi just wanted to let Severa go there, did not want to take the chance on tearing up that race car. So far, he has been avoiding all the messes. He is one of just 5 cars that is clean. No point in ruining that streak now when you've got Severa right behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. It drives your own race. You know, you got somebody behind you, it just makes you more nervous, gives you a greater chance to mess up. So, absolutely, let Severa go. You're not really racing Severa at this point. You're just trying to get a good, clean finish on this thing and put yourself in a position to get some much-needed points. That, like I said, that team really needs the opportunity to just finish strong.
Coming to 25 laps to go. Why don't we take a couple of laps? We'll tune back in with your battle with the race leaders, and we'll take a couple of laps and just listen to the sounds of the cars. 10 laps to go in the Goodies 200 from North Wilkesboro Speedway. And currently, the closest drivers, 1.2 seconds apart, and that is for your race lead. Going to show just how spread out this field has gotten. And really how secure everybody's currently running their positions. Nobody's pushing anything right now here, Al. Everybody is just running this race out clean. They just want to make sure they can get it to the end in one piece here.
I mean, wouldn't you? This is the last thing that you want to do at this stage of the game, is go out there and, make like a bonehead move and tear your stuff up. So at this point, you just really got to bring that thing home, keep the tires on the ground. We got 8 laps left in this thing. And look for Grassy. For him, this is going to be his best finish of the season. Yes, Severa, Powell, Schaffner, these guys are up front every week, but that's got to be exciting for him.
Kenny Powell is trying to close in the gap to first. It's down to just 1 second now, but that is not closing in nearly enough, not with just 6 laps left to go. And at the moment, you've only got 6 guys on the lead lap, only 10 left on the racetrack. There's another battle, potentially for 4th and 5th. That is about 9/10 away. That's between Wayne Grossi and Brian Johnson. But that battle, about the same distance as your battle for the race leaders are at the moment. So everybody's trying their best to make up maybe just that one more spot. But so far, nobody has really been able to put down the hammer enough that their efforts would actually amount to anything.
Yeah, absolutely. At this stage in the game, we've already turned off the grill and we're just starting to give the hot dogs away because this thing they're just trying to get it in the books. Nobody wants to do anything that's going to just prolong this, especially Schaffner. He just wants to see this thing go green, wants to just be able to just ride out these next 4 laps and just, for the second week in a row, get that Premier Chevy pointed in the win column.
And with just 3 laps to go, it's looking like he is going to be doing just that. Schaffner has been on fire. Won stage 1. Did not quite get the victory in stage 2, but he certainly will be looking to take that victory in stage number 3 with just 2 laps to go at the stripe.
Yeah, just 2 laps to go, and we've got some drivers tonight that are actually going to get top 10 finishes that haven't had top 10 finishes this entire season. So it just proves that you got to come out here. You got to put the work in, especially with that change that we had in the setups this week. It really shows who was actually able to go out there and figure some stuff out. As Schaffner actually is getting ready to take this Premier Chevy, and if he just is going to take the white flag right here, and looks like if all goes well, he will take the checkered flag and become your race leader. Josh Schaffner is your race leader with Kenny Powell in 2nd. Chris Severa in 3rd. Looks like Wayne Grossi is going to get 4th place. Brian Johnson in 5th. Wayne Grossi in 5th. Greg Wachinski in 6th. Ken Aland 7th. Robert Pattingale is going to be in 8th place, 2 laps down. Gary Adamson, additionally 2 laps down in 9th place. Looks like Frank Flores, 2 laps down, will round out your top 10.
And of course, that will round out the drivers that actually finished this race, with Jay Hone now the first of the DNF cars in 11th, with Chris Johnson, in 12th. John Mullins was 13th. Uphold, Kling, O'Connor round out your field. We'll take one more quick step away. We'll be back with the Tucson Sound Art post-race show in just a moment.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And welcome back to the post-race show for the North Wilkesboro Speedway. 3 drivers, as always, to talk to before we end off tonight's broadcast. We're going to kick things off with a most dominant drive from Josh Schaffner. Completely was in control of this race, save for a Stage 2 victory. Josh, what were you thinking out there tonight for you? I mean, it was a new package on a very difficult track. Overall, though, you seem to make the best of it.
Yeah, just a really good night overall, and kind of had a rough night Thursday, and then just didn't have much time to really just drive that car. And the car was good Thursday, just had some damage there that after running tonight was hurting me more than what I anticipated. And tonight I could really get the car to wheel that inside of 3 and 4, and I could exit low and get a good drive off, and that was just the key. But Kenny was strong there, and some other Chris and some other guys had some trouble that I think might have been there at the end as well. But yeah, just the big thing for me was just kept the car clean and was kind of up front all night and could kind of control the pace, which if you can control the pace here, it's a big advantage.
And with Chris Severa down in 3rd place, and you did close in the gap somewhat, it's down within 80 points now of the race leader. Still time with 4 races left to go in this first season 2022. Do you think you'll be able to have anything for Severa by season's end?
Yeah, hard to say. Missing a race there hurt me, and hopefully I can make the rest of the Saturdays. I haven't looked at the calendar that far out, and but we'll keep working on it, and just come out every week and just do the best we can, and that's all we can do.
So we talk about a brand new package as well, and next week we're going to see what it does on a 1.5 miles, but not any 1.5 miles. It's the Kentucky Speedway in just 1 week's time. What's your take coming over into that old 1.5 mile speedway?
Looking forward to it, mainly just looking forward to getting this package out on 1.5 miles, and we'll get some work on it here hopefully before that time comes. But I think a little bit of unknowns. I'm sure we're all excited to give it a whirl, and it'll be nice to hopefully not be flat-footed around these 1.5 miles, which will, I think, make the racing a lot more fun and just more enjoyable for the drivers especially.
And thank you, Josh, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Before I let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 50 car?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank Tucson Sound Art for sponsoring the series, and everyone at ISCA and Kenny and the group that makes it work. You guys up in the booth, and got to thank my wife and daughter for letting me come down here a couple nights a week and do this, and really got to thank Premier Racing Setups. Be sure to visit them and use my promo code Schaffner15 if you're looking to save some dollars along the way there. And I do want to just one special shout out. I want to thank Smith Farms. I know they had their kind of operation appreciation night down La Crosse, and I wasn't able to make it with my wife working today, and both my daughters had a jam-packed schedule. But I know they caught the end of the race, and I wish I could have been there. But I got to thank them for all the support through the years and the partnership, and I look forward to catch up with those guys again soon.
Thank you, Josh, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Congratulations on yet another race win. We'll hopefully see you back in victory lane next week.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Kitty Powell, this is Big Al. I got you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, so a very, very strong showing there, especially for Kenny Powell. But I got to ask you, probably won't be getting a dang any kind of friendship cards there from the 48 car. What happened?
Yeah, I had a chance to look at it right before the interview, and 100% my fault. I got a good run off the corner and cut down low on him. He started coming down, and he still had the position. I tried to back out it and go low, but I had too much momentum going in, and I got into his corner. And, man, I wish I could take it back, but I can't. So I apologize for Chris for that one.
Well, aside from that, still very strong finish, strong showing for you here today. So you got to love the momentum that you're carrying going into Kentucky. What are you looking forward to with that, especially with this new package that they sprung on us?
Yeah, I've definitely had a good run here lately. Again, shot myself in the foot several times tonight. I missed my pit stall or parked in the wrong one because I couldn't see. It was real tight, and missed the pit stall. And then I had something happen on the last before stage 3 also. So anyway, if I start up front, maybe I could have been there at the end, up front where Josh was, but I gotta get rid of those mistakes. I'll get there one day. As far as car, I love the new car. I remember liking Kentucky. Haven't put my car on it yet, but I think we'll do good next week.
Well, good deal. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. Tucson Sound Art. Greatly appreciate them making this series happen, sponsoring it. So thanks to them, thanks to you guys in the booth, and everybody that helps me put this together, and all my guys at G&G and Premier Racing Setups put the base setup under us, and it was a rocket ship.
Roger that. Congratulations again on yet another strong finish. Second place for you. That's got to feel good, and good luck to you. Can't wait to see you next week. And thanks again, Kenny, for all you do.
All right. Thank you.
And that'll bring us down to the third place driver, making it a G&G 2 and 3. Chris Severa joins us back in the broadcast booth. And Chris, what a night for you as well. Bit up and down, but you find yourself 14th to 3rd, most spots gained on the night. Overall, I'd say that's a very successful race for you overall.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take it at the end of the day. Spun out in qualifying, so we had to start in the back. But yeah, can't complain with a third place. Was hoping to be up there with the top guys towards the end of it, but just could not control the power tonight coming out of the corners. I was really struggling all night and got the inside wall, the outside wall. I hit, you name a wall, I hit it. So if it weren't for that, I probably would have been up there. But all said and done, not going to complain about P3.
And while you may have finished behind two of the main guys looking to charge for your title, you did still manage to maintain, I would imagine, a plus 50-point gap back to second place. That is a nice buffer to work with coming on over into the next few races. Do you think you'll be able to maintain that gap?
Yeah, as long as we can get consistent top fives up here, I think we'll be okay. Of course, we don't want to leave it to just the top five, so we can get every point we can. We'll take it, and know it's a big jump from second to first. Is a 4-point difference, so definitely going to have to get 1 or 2 more of those before the end of this thing's over.
Fingers crossed, and that you'll be able to find yourself with a solid run coming over towards the end of the season as we get set to enter further into this second half. We'll let you go then, Chris. Anybody you'd like to shout out?
It's the guys at G&G. They did a lot more work this week than I was able to do. I just did not drive this car much after the big change to the tire on Wednesday. So fortunately, I didn't get much practice in it. So big thanks to all of them. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have been there. But yeah, you guys every day for putting it on. Tucson Sound Art for sponsoring us. Appreciate it. Yeah, real appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that'll about wrap it up then for us here for the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And so, from us here at the iRacing Stock Car Association, it is time that we say farewell. So for myself, Nola Rempel, and Alfonso Nixon, along with Rob Meldick in the production booth, we're going to say farewell for North Wilkesboro. We'll see you all next week in Sparta, Kentucky.